Oh, now you have a different story to consider. I call it the galactic history, the galactic history of you as a star being coming from those regions where all there is love, when all there is good. It's not where we are now. And we want to get back to that place, maybe create a world that is manifesting all good. Isn't that what you want for your children and your grandchildren? I know I do. So why in 89, with the ascension movement, personal growth movement, change your mind, change your life, all that going on, and we were still hitting walls, being trapped, staying small, fighting with each other, and it wasn't happening. And that's why it wasn't happening, because what was going on in our earthly life was a reflection of the trauma, the concepts, the entrapment that was in worlds that we had been that had been hidden away from us. We were told all there was is God, heaven, be on earth to obey. When you've learned your lessons, you don't have to come back. Total false story. So no wonder problems weren't getting solved. We didn't have the right understanding. So let's go back to our model here. So here we are, home, all that is good. All is love, that's all there is there. All kinds of good possibilities, intelligence, magnificence, amazing. Any word of benefit, lovely, exists in home, like a full spectrum of colors and orchestras and songs and harmonies and that are beautiful. And then we started to coalesce around concepts, which became an agenda for experiencing a part of the good, a part of all that's possible. And then we extended into the first world. And then the second world, we began to devolve because we invited in false, I'll say, saviors, people, beings whose agendas were really to control us so they could use our energy, control us so whatever we produced, they would benefit from. They were parasitic by nature. We invited them in through deception, and then our energies began to lessen and lessen and lessen, and we were dying, literally. We tried many things, didn't work. We were owned. Slavery was well entrenched. Trauma was well entrenched. The broadcasting from towers of the invader, outsider, parasitic types kept telling us we're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough, escalating fear. So we're here, and are we going to live or die? We decided we needed a different plan. And it's the plan that you've been unaware of also. The plan that was needed would have the end result that we would live and be restored to our harmonics, vibrations, qualities of all there is good. We would be restored to that. How would we be restored to it when we were owned, slaved, and encased? By having a way to get rid of, remove, make extinct parasitic types. Now, just to define a word I use to speak about those whose agendas are to use other people. I call them outsiders. And the reason I call them outsiders is because their agenda is outside the possibilities of good. They are a different kind of frequency by choice. It's like if I went to Africa and I saw a baby elephant, and I loved the baby elephant, and he was so sweet, I'd bring him home to my island, and then he grows, and he's an elephant. I can't have a garden because he trumps it up as he follows me around. My doors keep getting crashed down because he wants to be with me. People eventually don't want to come and visit because he wants to sit in their lap. Is he bad? He's an elephant. He's an elephant. He's just in the wrong place. So these outsiders are in the wrong place. We invited them in when they said they could help us because we weren't smart enough, etc. And then they started to damage us, invade us, devise us. But we invited them in and they're in the wrong place. We needed a way for them to get back to their home, back to where they began to be dealt with there. That's the purpose of Earth. And we needed a way to make their energies slow down enough so that they would be, we'd identify them and contain them and have them removed because they were so sneaky. They were so deceptive and they would scatter away. So we wanted a world in which energy could slow down enough that they'd be manifested, easy to identify and remove. That is why we have a physical planet in which energy, very fast, will manifest. The law of manifestation, the purpose of it is not so that you can have lots of money, a lot of cars, a lot of followers. That's not at all why the law of manifestation is here. It is so you will see that there are outsiders in your world, maybe in your family, maybe in your thoughts, because they are energy and they're not always in the body, but they're using the bodies as puppets. So we needed a way for the energy to slow down so that we could identify and capture it, the law of manifestation, and therefore we needed a physical planet. We were non-physical, we were in energy. So the planet we call Gaia, Mother Earth, agreed that we could use her landscape, her environment, and we agreed that we would take care of her. We wouldn't destroy her in the process. We would make sure we were good stewards. Well, that hasn't worked out too well. But she agreed. Therefore, we had a place where the play could be acted out. Well, we're energy. You are a star soul. You are a body of energy. In order to be on this physical planet, you needed an earth suit, a physical body. So we designed physical body with all of the connections and abilities and to walk around here on this planet while we got ready to identify and remove parasitic outsider types. So therefore, earth suit. And it had to be done quickly. So we didn't want to do group consensus. Like we were in groups, was consensus, talk about it, everybody have a role to play. So we came up with personal choice, the law, ask and receive. One person sensing or seeing an energy that is problematic, probably outsider, can immediately call it out and have it removed. One person. We are not a hundredth monkey. It's not what it is here. It doesn't require a shifting point. One person. So we have personal choice, not group consensus. Doesn't mean we can't do group consensus. It doesn't mean that more people, it makes more power and makes things maybe shorten the time, but law of choice. Now the real problem became this. We were all owned. Our soul was owned. We were slaves at a soul level. So we couldn't just say, well, master, we're just taking off. We're going to find another place to be. Sorry, we're leaving the farm. We're leaving the plantation. Bye-bye, so well. No, we were owned. It's like we were identified by which family owned us with chips, attachments, type stuff. All energy, but absolutely valid. So then we decided, well, let's see, what would happen if one soul was able to take their encased energies over to this bodysuit, so that the soul would not have any ownership, but the ownership that would continue would go into one of the bodysuits. So what if one bodysuit carried two sets of ownerships, one for the soul that's going to be incarnating in it, and the other carrying it in behalf of somebody else. So it would look and carry forward with the ownership, but the one divesting the soul of those ownership codes could work free, would have then the authority. When there was an energy, anything that looked like outsider, would have the authority, not owned, totally sovereign, to say, there's energy, there's energy, there's energy. Not ours, not acceptable. Remove it back to where it came from, back to its home, back to where it came from. Good plan. So we don't have one body. We have two bodysuits, one we call male, one we call female. The male bodysuit carries two ownership marks. So the bodysuit itself was owned by the parasitics. We designed it, but we had to have a place for those two software programs to exist in that body. So the bodysuit of the male, whoever incarnated into the male, was owned by the parasitic. We knew that. So there was a different role for that particular soul to play. Totally agreed. The soul coming into a female bodysuit, no ownership marks. The parasitic outsiders wouldn't even know that there was a body on the planet that was busy at work. Busy at work. Nothing to draw their attention. She has no monitoring, no ownership. And it was given to her, we'll say her because it's a female body, to have the ability to design the space to see what the earth needed, work with Gaia, what does Gaia need, root into the earth, talk with one another, decide where on the planet each village was going to be. What does a village need in order for us to thrive? I mean, we're a mission force. We have to survive from what's here. What is here? She could do all of that, investigation, research, talking, designing, and then she could hold her design so that it could manifest. So she'd land on the planet, be with the earth, connect to other souls in female bodysuits, talking about things, designing things, trying things on, refining, holding the design to bring forth those forms, to give birth to those forms. We weren't going to bring babies onto this planet, into this mess. No, we needed a thriving place, a lush garden. And that's what she created, the lush garden. While the soul in the male bodysuit is over here, letting energy come in through the crown, out through the heart, filling space with all kinds of unformed energy, ready to be spun into form. So it'd be like he'd be sitting on the side of the river, just like he's doing nothing. That's what the outsiders would see. He's doing nothing. Watch him, because when he starts working, we're going to come in and he take his product. But he's not working. He's just lazing around, filling all space with heart energy, the nurturer, making all things available for the soul in a female body to create and design the lush garden. You get it? And once the lush garden, once the little village in which males are doing their thing, females are doing their thing, they aren't together. They're together in purpose, but they're not together in proximity, because monitoring's going on here, totally invisible here. So then, once There was a way for the village to thrive. They knew how to work together, move this body around. Now it was time for them to see, what does outsider, parasitic, dominator, controller energy, what is that like on this new planet? Remember, those in female bodysuits had already created good. They knew what good was like. They knew the joy and the excitement and the beauty. They knew what that was like on this planet. They tasted it. Now it was time for them to taste or experience energy of outsider dominators made into form so that they could identify it. And as soon as they were to identify it, they could then say, okay, that's it. Call to their support teams off planet to have that energy neutralized, contained, removed back to where it came from. It's a beautiful plan, isn't it? It's a great plan. What you're seeing out there in the world today is because that was our plan. I don't think we thought it would get this bad. We thought we could get this cleaned up way far back, but unfortunately, a glitch, and it was discovered by outsiders that there was a bodysuit and a soul on the planet they did not own, that had the ability to remove them. And so they started invading villages using male bodies, And they invaded villages with the total intention to harm the bodysuit and attach devices to it to own it. And that's been going on ever since. To own the female body is the agenda of those whose agenda is to control, dominate, use, abuse, voyeuristic, all those kind of things. So when that happened, the ownership was then male owned, female targeted, and device owned. And the wiring for the authority voice, what I call Sophia voice, the wiring for the Sophia voice, the power center in the chakra system of the solar plexus, was unplugged. And that soul was made by the outsiders to serve men. Why? Because outsiders own the male body. So in essence, we women were told we could not discern, and we had no authority. We might know that it didn't feel good, but we were discounted if we said that's not okay, because our authority voice into the heavens was unplugged. The male, whose authority was heart, nurturer, was unplugged. And that wiring was plugged into the gonads, the very place where those two programs of ownership lay. So they controlled men bodysuits through the gonads. They controlled women through the voice of you have to serve constantly. Women were to be the policymakers, the leaders, the designers, and the safekeepers. The steward to make sure Gaia was safe. Destroyed. And you were not told that story. That story's been hidden from you. Men were to be the nurturer, to provide everything that the woman needed to create good in the world. You were not told that story. Now you have a new story to consider. Are you in a female body? We're restoring the Sophia power. Are you in a male body? We're restoring the heart power. We are knowing and remembering the history. And when you know the history, when you know the cause, you can solve the problem. Watch for the next class.